off-season went?
What off season? I don't know what you're talking about. We don't get an off season. No, it was good. It's always good to obviously spend time with family, and we really like how we've constructed our roster and how our team looks and how we're built, and we're excited to put it to work.
You have a lot of newcomers this year. How do you feel like the team is gelling together so
I think really well. I think when you have I think that the Shim and Smoley have done such a great job as our two captains, really bringing them together and making them understand what our standard is here and on the ice and off the ice. And I mean, I've had some really good captains. The guys did a great job last year. I raved about how good Tyler Gratton was the year before that. But these two have really set a new standard for leadership in every way, and you can sense it. The guys are really dialed in to everything that we want to do and how we want to do it because of them.
How do you feel like the culture that you built the past couple of years has helped make that transition easy?
Yeah, I think it starts with player leadership, right? I mean, there's only so much you can do as a coach. You can guide the ship and obviously set the standard, but at the end of the day, the players are the ones that have to live to it, right? And when you have such good human beings like Smoley and Shim that are so bought into what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish here to take the program, to the next level and obviously, win championships, it makes things a lot easier on us.
What was your game plan heading into the offseason with the new CHL rule and recruiting guys from that league?
Yeah, I mean, it was to go and take advantage of it. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, it's tough. College hockey was already really good, and now it's going to be even better. Our player pool, our prospect pool doubled, with the entire CHL becoming available to us. And when it does that, you have to go, you have a job to do. We have to go build the best roster that we can build. We think there's no doubt that we're better than we've ever been. We're deeper than we've ever been, but so is everybody else. So everybody, I think, got better. College hockey as a whole got better. And so, we like how we're built. We're bigger. We're definitely bigger than we've ever been. We're going to be more of a straight line. We got some kids like Noah Powell and Sammy Alfano and, Logan Morrell and Ty Nash who just go. They got motors and they go and they hit everything that's in their way. And so when you mix some of the really high-level skill that we have in with that, it's exciting.
Was that a priority to get bigger this offseason?
Yeah, we've always, as I always felt the last few years, we've been a little slight, right? And so, yeah, we wanted to get bigger and stronger and be a little bit tougher to play against, and we will be.
You mentioned the newcomers. You have two newcomers this year. What are your kind of thoughts on both of them coming into this season?
They've both been lights out, has looked really, really good, and Herbs, gets better every day. He's got a ton of ability. He's the best we've had at playing the puck since Joey was here. He's world class at it. He's that good at it. When you have a guy back there that can break pucks out for you and catch teams off guard, it makes things a lot easier in our D. And Herbs can do that, and Haz is actually really good at it too. So we have two really good ones. It's the most depth we've ever had at that position because they're really 2-1s. You have a kid that led the NCAA in shutouts last year, and then you have Herbs, who was Slovakia's World Junior National starter, right? So we have 2-1s back there, and they're making each other better every day, and that's what you want.
How big was it to see Connor go in the first round this past summer?
It was cool. It was a great experience. I was out there obviously to support him and got down to the wire there at the end, and we didn't know if it was going to happen, but it happened. And I think, a month prior to that or 2 months prior to that, he was projected to go in the middle, and then as NHL playoffs happen and teams are reminded what wins in the NHL playoffs, size and grit and those things, he probably slid down a little further than we thought he should have. But Calgary picked him up, and they're not going to regret it.
How do you think he's developed over the summer since being drafted?
A lot of different ways. I mean, he had such a busy summer, him and Ben. Ben and Kev's had a really busy summer too with, U18 World Championships, the draft combine they both were at. They were both at, obviously, the World Junior Summer Showcase. So they didn't have any time off. But I think that, with Potsy specifically last year, he always had that kind of monkey on his shoulder, and he was carrying that weight like, this is my draft year and all eyes are on me. And now he can just take a breath, right? And he can just take a breath, focus on being a Sun Devil, focus on what's going to help us win games. And I'm excited to see him play a little bit more free in that sense, because there was a lot of pressure on a 17-year-old kid last year, and now that's behind him, and he can just focus on helping us win games and getting better every day. He's matured off the ice a ton. He's 17 when he got here, and now he acts like he's 20, right? So a lot of maturing still to do, but he's matured a ton in every way. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's more polished. He's going to be very good for us.
Coach, it was around this time last year when Braxton committed here and kind of broke a big barrier with the CHL, and now you guys are part of a select group of schools that broke another barrier with pro guys eligible. With that process with Jack, just kind of walk me through what went on between you guys and the NCAA.
Yeah, for me, it's not going to be something that we do probably ever again. It's not like we were scouring the East Coast Hockey League or the American League to find a player. It was 100% circumstantial. Jack, obviously, he's Noah's little brother, and Noah had a great experience here last year, signed an NHL contract, was second team All-League. He had a great experience at Arizona State. Jack wanted to experience that, and he missed the CHL rule change by a year. And so there was obviously precedent set with what happened with the players in Bemidji, and there's a player on Augustana, there's a couple on Omaha, there's a player on Niagara. It didn't make the news like it did when Arizona State added one, but it just happened. So essentially when it happened with Bemidji, Noah was here before he went to San Jose. We kind of jokingly talked about it, and then it just kind of became a reality, right? We were short left shots. We had 15 forwards, 2 were left shots, Potsy and Nash. So it's weird how the roster shook out that way. So we really needed a left shot kid. And he's a special player. He's a really, really good hockey player. Obviously, as a rookie, he went over a point per game playing pro hockey, and NCAA ruled him eligible. So it wasn't like we were looking to break rules. We weren't looking to even circumvent the rules. The opportunity presented itself. It was unique. If it were anyone else that were in the same position, we would have said no, right? But because of the character we know the kid has, being close with the brother and close with the family, it was a no-brainer for us. Was that a well we'll go back to again? It will not be. But for us, it just made sense because of who the person is and how badly he wanted to come be a part of this.
How do you think the landscape of college hockey is changing with just all these rule changes, and do you think it's for the better?
I think it's just college sports, and people aren't talking about all the Euros and and they're coming over from playing college basketball now. It's happening everywhere, so it's probably going to happen in baseball too, and so it's a landscape of college sports. If I were king for a day and I could go back to the way college sports were before all this happened and the House settlement and all those things, I would do it in a heartbeat. But unfortunately, I'm not king for a day, so I can't go back. And at the end of the day, you have to evolve or you're going to get left behind. So we have to be open to being innovative and creative in how we build out our roster, and that's exactly what we've done. We've embraced it. But I think this is it's such a unique window with some of these kids that had a cup of coffee playing in the American League or East Coast League that are playing college hockey now. All these kids missed the rule change by a year, right? So they just missed it, and they're like, oh man, like I can go get my education now, maybe I can go get a second life at extending my runway to become a pro and maybe get an NHL contract. So that's what's happening. It's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be this regular thing where NCAA programs, certainly not us, are constantly looking at what pro players fall into some sort of like loophole and can come. It's not going to happen. I think that's going to pass and just become a thing of the past. This is a very small window of kids that just missed it that want to be a part of it. I think that has a lot to do with it. But like I said, for us with Jack, completely circumstantial in every way, and we're thrilled he's here. He's a really good player. He's going to help us a lot.
You kind of already touched on it. Ty and Logan, both are Arizona natives. What does that kind of say to the testament of the growth of hockey in Arizona and bringing in some of your own in Arizona, I guess?
Yeah, we want the best local kids to stay here and play. And we've done a really good job, obviously, with getting the right local kids, whether it's back to Anthony Croston, Demetrius Kumanzis, obviously Josh Doan, David Heimovich was here for a couple of years. And now, obviously, with Logan and Ty here, it's awesome. We had our event over at Nova's Place last Saturday, and they introduced themselves and said where they're from, and the place went absolutely nuts, right? So we want those hometown boys to stay here that are good enough to help us win and accomplish our goals. We want them to stay here, and those two definitely fall into that category, and we're thrilled they're here.
With your guys' success last year, first year in a conference, did you notice a difference in the interest with recruits compared to years past?
Yeah, no doubt. It makes a huge difference. Kids want to play for a championship, right? And so when you have the staff that we've assembled, it's as good as it gets. Dana and Corbs and Hicksy do a great job identifying really elite level talent, and we're recruiting at a really high level now. And if we were not in a league, I would say I don't know if any of these guys would be here. Any guy on our roster. The fact that you can play in a league, in such a good league, and you're playing elite talent and you're getting better just from that alone every weekend, the best players are going to want to come play for you, right? At least give you a chance to recruit them and have a conversation. And that's all we need. We just need a conversation, right? Now we're getting those conversations and that interest and kids to come visit this place that in the past, as an independent, we just never were involved with because we were independent.
Coach, you talked about the local guys. One of those guys is Johnny Walker as well. How cool is it for you to see him come back and coach here as well?
It's awesome. Get to see him a lot. He's here a ton. I think he makes this room a makeshift office for himself every once in a while. So we see him. He comes over and hangs out and hangs out in the offices, and he's really good. He's got a really good future in front of him. He runs great practices. He leads with energy. He's a great communicator. I think he's going to do a tremendous job. He really has decided this is what he wants to do, and he wants to get into coaching. Really proud of him, and we're here to support him in any way we can.
What were your biggest takeaways from this year in NCHC?
Man, there were so many. We knew, obviously, because we played so many of the teams, how good the league was and how deep it was. We obviously learned that, through experience. There's just no nights off. It's just, anybody can beat anybody in any given night. And last year it was perceived that it was a quote unquote down year. And then you look at what happens when the bright lights are on in the NCAA tournament, and Western and Denver are in the Frozen Four, the only teams that we got in somehow. I still don't agree with it. Obviously, it is what it is, and we're hungrier for it. But we felt like we should have been in and been the third team in. We had a winning record against Frozen Four teams, a winning record against teams in the NCAA tournament we should have been in. It's just such a good league, and 7 of the last 9 national championships, I think, speaks for itself. We're thrilled to be a part of it, and we still have to be hungry and prove that we can provide value to this league and continue to earn respect from the league. And one cup of coffee and coming in second place, I don't think warrants that.
What do you think this team has to do to get back into the NCAA postseason?
We just got to keep advancing, right? We've had 2 really good seasons in a row where we've kind of been bumped out by auto bids, and so we got to figure out a way to get over that hump and get into the top 10 and stay there, But we have to have a better non-conference schedule this year and results in non-conference. We were really obviously decimated by injury at the start of last year in the first 10 games, and once we got healthy, we really never looked back. Knock on wood, right now, we're not in that position, right? So we should be able to go in minus Jack, who looks like he's going to have to sit the first 6 games. But we should be healthy, hopefully, and ripping and roaring, ready to go. And we have such a great opportunity. 4 games at home, 2 against an unbelievable Penn State team, and then obviously Notre Dame, and then the winner of Quinnipiac and Fairbanks, if we're lucky enough to beat Notre Dame, who's going to be really good.
What happened to Jack?
Well, Jack, it was just so NCAA ruled that he probably, I think he has to sit his first 6 games. So it's just part of the ruling with him playing over 21, and but that's it's a small price to pay for having him for a few years here and a big part of the present and future. And he's a kid he's going to go in our top 6 right away when he's eligible. It would have been nice to have him for this first 6 games, but we would gladly pay that price to have him in a program long term.
You mentioned that non-conference schedule. You mentioned Penn State. You also have Ohio State. You have all these amazing Big Ten schools. What is that going to look like trying to get through that non-conference schedule and do a little bit better than last year?
Yeah, I mean, it's opportunity, right? And I think there's one thing that our group can take away from last year was, missing opportunities, going to Providence and not getting a win, playing Michigan and not getting a win in regulation, dropping a game at Air Force that we had pretty well in hand. So, you have to learn from those experiences, and this year the non-conference schedule is probably even a little tougher, certainly to start. And then we go to Augustana, on the road, who was really good last year and I think they won 19 games. So it's a great opportunity. We have success in that first 6-game kind of segment we're looking at it as. Then we have a bye week, then we get into league play, and we'll worry about NCHC and league stuff after those 6 games.
You mentioned Penn State, puck drop in 10 days. What's your message to fans to pack more?
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it's going to be packed no matter what I say to them right now. So we were proud of that. Our fans are unbelievable. We gave them a lot to cheer for, and the way that it ended last year with 2 wins at home in the playoffs against Duluth, it was incredible. So we feed off your energy, and we know you'll be here supporting us, and we can't wait to do it.
15 years ago, you guys at Penn State were club team still, and now you're top 15 programs. How cool is it to open up the season with them?
It's awesome. It's really cool. I mean, obviously what Guy's done has been incredible, and making a Frozen Four last year, and they've laid the blueprint and the model for programs to follow them, and we certainly are one of them. So I think it's great. This is the second time Penn State's been out here. They came out in our independent era. We played them once. Actually played them both games at Gila River. And they waxed us. They absolutely waxed us. So, hopefully it's not as easy of a trip for them this time.
Anything else? All right, thanks, Coach.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Thank you, Coach.